What's going on, Buff Nation? my, what a day! What a 48 hours. Okay, massive weekend of recruits, massive weekend of people flowing in and out, and then just all hell breaks loose. I feel like it's a good time. We got to talk about it. Coach Prime response, Shador responds. Everybody's chiming in. Everybody has an opinion about this and that, and who said what, and how he said this. And deep breath. Woosah. Let's roll the intro.
I flushed my kids down in the club.
All right, well, in some good news, the Buffs landed themselves a nice little cornerback, which we're going to talk about in our are also favored to land themselves a nice, juicy defensive lineman, which is a big pickup if it were to happen, which we're also going to talk about. But the big thing that everyone's probably wondering, what am I referring to if you're living under a rock, is the comments, the quotes. There was an article that came out from The Athletic from a former player, kind of bashing the Prime and the Buffs, and then everybody responded. We're going to get into all of it. Trust me. I don't like to get too much into the drama. It's a little overdone today. It kind of exploded more than I thought it would, but I'm going to give you my kind of overview of my thoughts. And of course, you guys in the comments let me know how you feel. First, our order of business, R.J. Johnson, DB from Arkansas, standing at a whopping 6'2", 180. He is a sophomore, but he redshirted last year. So we didn't get to see much playing time, only played in one game. He's got 4 years of eligibility left. This, to me, is the same thing. Again, we've kind of iterated this on the show before. It's a 2024 commit. This guy's got all 4 years of eligibility left, and it's like a JUCO transfer too, right? Because he has some college experience, went through the process. Again, this is kind of Coach Prime's target. So it's going to go under that transfer portal title, but I like to put this more of these kind of guys in a recruiting class. It just doesn't fit the mold of a recruiting class. It's not going to give the points to 2023, but that's how I look at it, because he had no contribute to Arkansas last year. Doesn't really burn any eligibility. Just another year of practice and developing and getting the skill, making him a little bit better. Recruits and ratings and all things kind of go out the window. So again, I kind of put this more into a recruiting for the 2024 cycle than anything else. Depth has always been a big issue. Cornerback, they're pretty juicy and thick, but a lot of guys that probably will go into the NFL next year. So love this pickup. Again, not going to be an impact player that we see in the football field in this upcoming season. The cornerback room is absolutely delightful, but exciting nonetheless. And again, we talked about this in just a few videos ago where I talked about, he said 4 or 5 more cornerbacks coming. Some of you clarified that in the comment section about some recruits that will be enrolling in the next few weeks here, on top of maybe 2 or 3 more commits. And I think this is kind of what we're getting to here, is on top of the one we had yesterday, plus this one, and then maybe a few guys signing. That gives us that 4 or 5 number that Coach Prime was referring to. But the big one here is this defensive lineman from Michigan State, Derek Harmon, down to 2 schools, Colorado being one of them. This, I believe, would be the highest, or one of the highest rated defensive linemen that were to transfer to Colorado. Standing at a whopping 6'5", 320, redshirt sophomore, ton of years. That's some experience under his belt. Had a defensive grade of 78.4, a run defensive grade of 81.1, and a pass rush grade of 72.3. The run defensive grade rated him 59th out of 867 defensive linemen, and his defensive grade overall, including pass and rush, ranked him 71st. Top 100 player last year out of 883 defensive linemen overall. This would be an absolute massive pickup coming from the Big Ten. The Big Ten, they like to stuff it and run it. So coming with a lot of experience, going up against some top tier talent like Michigan, Ohio State. Obviously, we know the champion came from that division. So this would be an absolutely huge pickup. I think USC is the other school that is in the mix here currently for Derek Harmon. And I'm looking at this like, USC, they don't play defense. I don't think they know what the word defense means. So if there's a school where I'm picking, I feel like this seems like a no-brainer. In my opinion, just my thoughts. Again, this is my future or my career. But again, we've noticed a trend, right, of over the last month here with people in transfer portal. Colorado gets a sniff or gets a look at. They've been seeming to close pretty well. The only person we haven't, that the Buffs have eyed, that have been kind of in favor for or had a visit, is a linebacker from Tennessee. Haven't heard Harry, I believe is his last name. Haven't heard much from him. So I think Buffs are shooting like a 96% right now with the people that have visited and people that have been favored to land out of other schools to Colorado. So this will be definitely an interesting one to keep our eye on over the next few days. given the fact, again, USC, I liked Buffs over USC. It may come down to an NIL deal, which I think USC would probably pull the edge out on that one, just because it feels like lately they've been landing anybody and everybody who they want. It's coming out of nowhere. And look, it's USC. They've got a ton of money. Makes sense. They should have been those for a long time, but that's besides the point. So, two big moves happening over these last few days, last few couple of hours here. But of course, the last thing we got to talk about, and like I said, I try to avoid it because like this thing got sloppy. I mean, on Twitter, anyways. I don't know. Some of you may not be on Twitter, but it got ugly, and I got ugly fast. But where I'm frustrated, where my complaint comes in is where it's starting from, right? Because of the mass exodus of leaving Colorado, which isn't the only place it's happening. You've got Alabama that is having a pretty big exodus right now. Miami's having a pretty big exodus as well of guys leaving in the spring portal, not just overall, but in the spring portal, which is a pretty huge portal period. And they're not getting nearly as much flack, I guess you could say. Definitely some shots. Miami is getting their fair share of shots, but nowhere near what this is. And look, it's Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. Like, this is what it is. It's what you sign up for in a way. So all media outlets are jumping on the opportunity to basically take advantage of the situation and ask anybody who's leaving. It's like a company going out of business. Let's see if we can find us a disgruntled employee to throw a jab here and let's run with it. And that's what I don't like, because it's not just a disgruntled employee. This is a young man. This is a kid trying to find his way. And ultimately, at the end of all this, once the dust settles, once every blow is thrown, whether it's from Coach Prime, whether it's from Shador, whether it's from random accounts, random programs, the only person, it's like a divorce, right? The parents, they're going to bicker. The only person that's going to genuinely be affected by this on the long run is the kid. It's going to be the kid, Xavier Smith. And just like Kermani McClain coming out, having his statement, saying what he felt, his mom came out, made a statement like, we're having trouble. Like, it's not going as well as we thought it would be, because it's like, look, I don't want to deal with the drama. I don't want to deal with the nonsense. Coach Prime, look, will things affect him? Will it affect recruiting with Colorado, with how he's reacted with some parents? Sure. Ultimately, it'll go away. That's Coach Prime's brand. It's loud. It's in your face. And look, after so many shots, I get it. Like, eventually, you're gonna stick up and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" But Shador kind of really set the tone, because he's like, I didn't even know who he was. He was mid. But here's what Xavier said first. This comes from The Athletic. This is what it all started from. He said, I was actually getting mad, like tears coming to my eyes, because, bro, you never even tried to get to know me. This is a weird situation. We've seen multiple people come out from this saying, like, Coach Prime is showing me nothing but love. He's came up to me and asked me how I'm doing. We've seen clips. Some people argue, well, those are just clips and they're pumped out there to make you feel a certain way. But we've heard other stories, other success stories of him showing passion, him showing care. But to my argument to that is, I think it's a cowardly move, right? If you're concerned, I mean, you're one of 100 plus players on a football team. It's not his job to coddle you. That's how I look at it. If you want him to coddle you and appreciate you and get to know you, make him know who Xavier Smith is. Give him a reason to know who Xavier Smith is. That would be my advice. Again, everyone handles their stuff differently. That's how I would look at it. But anyways, and then he goes on to say this. I think this is kind of what really threw things over, I think put things over the edge. He was destroying guys' confidence and belief in themselves. The way he did it could have been done with a little more compassion. So again, that is an attack on, not an attack, but it's an aggressive statement. And look, that's how he feels. That's how he feels. It is what it is. But like I said, at the end of the day, the only person that's truly going to be affected by this is going to be Xavier, because schools are like, I don't want anything to do with that, because he comes here, then people are going to attack that school. Like, how could you, right? There's both sides to it, ultimately. And then again, like I said, Shador came out and said something. I didn't even know who he was. And then you've got people that were taking jabs at other DBs. And then Coach Prime got into it. He retweeted a little bit, said, my son's going to go top 5. What's your son going to do? Like, they got back and forth and jibby jabby. And look, I think it catches a lot of people off guard seeing coaches and players do these things, because it's just not normal, right, for what we're used to. But again, the new age of Twitter, the new age of social media, this is the kind of what you find yourself into sometimes. Other people handle themselves differently. It is what it is. Look, how I look at it, my opinion, and I am the worst at this. I am horrible at getting into it and jabbing with it. Will Smith, in his book, I love it, his mom's advice was, look, from a distance, when two people are arguing, both look like idiots, because nobody knows why they're arguing, right? And so that's kind of what eventually, ultimately, what happens when you get into this bickering arguments is like nobody knows who starts it anymore because they're just going back and forth. So try to avoid it as all costs. But it's just like I said, it's been mayhem today. Everyone's having the rounds with it. It's the off season. It's talking season. People are bored. It's like we're locked up in the house on hibernation waiting for football season. So we're going to throw any which way we can. I think ultimately we've got to stop attacking these kids, trying to, not attacking, but sucking these kids up to like, hey, I need a story. Can you give me something? Like nobody's ever talked to Xavier Smith before, but now he's a hot commodity. You go get the guy on the bottom of the totem pole to thrash what is in a pulverizing topic right now. What do you think is going to happen? And it sucks because, again, at the end of the day, the only person that's going to get really hurt is Xavier. And the Athletic just, thrives, and everyone else is going to keep building up top of it because they have such a big brand, it doesn't matter. But that's my thoughts. I'm sure you guys will give me your thoughts and opinions. Everyone has a different perspective on it. Again, right, wrong, or indifferent. My only concern is these players, these guys that are trying to make a way. It's just that's where it's getting ugly. And that's no fun for anybody. But hope you guys are enjoying the content as always. Almost to 10,000, less than 500 subs away. So you know what to do. Smash the like button and the sub button. Help us get there. I think we'll get there before the start of the season, but much appreciated. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.